Hey, this offensive line recruiting thing's kind of neat.
In the world full of podcasts, he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of hot takes, an Auburn sports homer, master of the book, and message board legend. Get your buttons buttoned and your hats flattened because the Top Button Podcast is about to kick off, and you don't want to miss your courtside seat. Now, here's your host, Charlie Five.
Let's go. It's episode 33 of the Top Button Podcast, and I'm your host, Charlie Five, and we are going to talk about beef, baby. Bring on the beef. Auburn adds another big offensive line commitment, and I don't think they're done there at all. We're going to talk about who could possibly be the next commit to pop, and then it's portal season. Spring's over. It's time for the portal. So get ready for it. But before we do that, we got to give a shout out to our boy Ford Stokes at Active Wealth Management. Look, you may only have your little savings account at your Wells Fargo, your Regions, wherever. You may only have your savings account that you dip a little stuff in every now and then from the paycheck. You skim a little bit off the top, throw it in there to build. You may not know that there's products out there that can help accelerate. You're getting pennies on the dollar back in your savings account in your bank. There's stuff out there that you could help grow your wealth a lot faster, a lot just as secure. So why not give him a call? Give Ford a call. Check him out, activewealth.com, annuity360.net, and he can introduce you to some stuff that you, just like me, I'm sort of an investment rookie. So he helped me. He can help you learn about some different things that you can do to help grow your wealth, even grow your money even faster, and still be as safe as it was in your bank savings account. So check him out, Active Wealth Management, activewealth.com, annuity360.net. Tell him War Eagle and tell him I sent you. All right, so other fan bases may kind of giggle at how excited we get over offensive line commits. Usually you like to go get you get fired up for the big skill guy. You get your 5-star wide receiver, you get your big time running back. We get fired up for offensive line recruits, and we got another big one, Carde Smith from Williamson High School in Mobile. Look, he checks all the boxes. 4-star check, 6'6", 300 check, athletic check, great length check, Mobile check. I think that's a big factor that not a lot of people really look at. Location of where he comes from and the connections that bridges you can build back in Mobile. I think it's a big add. You got 4 offensive linemen now, 2 4-star offensive tackles that they could play outside or inside. And I don't think you're done. Like I said, people laugh at Auburn fans. They may laugh at us for getting excited about stuff like this, but you got to understand, you have to go all the way back to, I believe, 2015, where you can see Auburn adding 4 or more offensive linemen from the high school ranks. And that is atrocious. But 10 years, you have to go back nearly 10 years. Actually, when this class doesn't sign until 2025. So you have to go back 10 years to find a Auburn doing just what you're supposed to be doing, recruiting offensive linemen and building that depth. You have 4 committed right now. I believe you had 5 in 2015. You still got several that you're looking for. I think 6 is probably the magic number. You've got several predictions in for another 4-star offensive tackle, Broderick Scholl out of Oklahoma. And then you still got guys like Jacoby Ward. You still got guys like Micah DeBose that you could go shoot for and add to. And I think that it's fun just to see recruiting done the way it's supposed to be done. This is how you're supposed to build your team, from the inside out, from the trenches out. Offensive lineman is one of the hardest positions to hit unless you're just getting all 5 stars. It's one of the hardest positions to evaluate because it's so hard for the level of ball that these kids play, seeing how it transfers. Kids get injured. Offensive line is a tough position. You get banged on constantly. So it's a hard position anyway. And now you add the transfer portal in, and it's even tougher. So it's a hard position just in general to hit on someone, to get a kid and be right on him, and he becomes an SEC player. But then you limit yourself to only adding, to a class. You just put yourself so far behind the 8 ball. It seems like all of our offensive line groupings, offensive line rooms, starting offensive lines have been sort of patchwork, Band-Aid stuff. And we've had some good ones, but there's mostly been, transfer here, JUCO there. You just had a hard time getting that group that's played together for a long time, multiple years together, to gel and push forward. And this is, you add 3 high school offensive linemen, I believe, or 2 last year, and a JUCO guy. And then you got 4 committed right now, assuming all of them sign. And then you're going to look to add at least 2 more, and you lead for a big one. So Carde Smitty, I think he goes by Smitty. You got to give him a shout on Twitter. I think this is going to be a big addition. Kind of went back and forth. I think Mississippi State got in really hard. He would have been sort of the gem of their class. And, that's something that you have to compete with when smaller schools like that have, they don't have, I guess, the huge firepower, so they can show a little bit more love, to a guy like Carde or more resources than maybe Auburn can. But Auburn really pushed hard. I think he actually snuck in this past weekend without anybody really reporting on it. I don't think he even gave any quotes. And I think that kind of locked it in that he was going to be an Auburn Tiger. Thought it would have been, I kind of thought he might have gone ahead and committed earlier in the week, but he waited till yesterday. He announced on his Instagram, and man, the train is rolling. Think about this. In early April, when you look at offensive line and defensive line commits, you have 10 total commits in your class, okay? 10 total commits in your class. 7, depending on how you count Ja'Caleb Falk, which I count him as a defensive lineman because he's going to spend a majority of his time as an edge, which will be right there on the line. You might as well just call him an athletic defensive end. 7 out of your 10 are trenches. 7 out of your 10 are in the trenches. That is something that I feel like that's how you normally build a class. And that's just something that we haven't really done. We've done well on the defensive line. You've had some big time defensive line classes. So I'm not necessarily hating on the defensive line because that's something that, Auburn's sort of always been kind of known for, having a big time defensive line, being a tough defensive line. And, I think you're still going to add a couple more defensive linemen. So those numbers plus offensive line, those numbers are going to increase. But again, you're building the class the right way. And quite frankly, that's just something I feel like we're not really used to. I just think that's, so you see something like this, you get excited. Other people kind of point their fingers like, what's the big deal? Well, we have a guy in place that's going to assemble the team the way it's supposed to be assembled. And I kind of dig it. And hey, is it a coincidence that, the day after, we announce as a Nike school that Carde goes ahead and pulls the trigger? Who knows? I think that may have been coordinated. Let's don't steal the hype. If he would have committed on a Monday, Nike would have been announced on a Tuesday. Maybe that drowns out the excitement from him. So he goes after the Nike announcement, which I think probably he retweeted something whenever Auburn announced it, I believe, kind of like the little eye emoji or something like that. And I think that kind of signaled he was coming, but he waited till Wednesday, which again, I think was smart, gave him the most of the spotlight that he deserved. Again, 4-star offensive tackles are sort of like diamonds for Auburn recruiting. So love this addition. And I don't think we're done. Watch out for Broderick Scholl. I don't know if he's announced a date yet, but again, he's got commitments. He's got sort of predictions and things like that from big time, from Steve Wiltfong, big time recruiting analysts with On3 and 247 and all the different sites. They're sort of projecting him this way. He's another athletic offensive tackle. That gives you 5, and then you can kind of start shooting for shooting for some of the best players available. I still think Micah DeBose is a real possibility. He could be a swing guy. He could play inside or outside. Boy, if you can pull in 6 offensive linemen, all of the caliber that we've brought in, you do have 2 3-star guys, but Ty Buster has a ton of great offers. Look at his offer list. All the big guys in the Southeast. He's from Charlotte. They camp sort of later. The Charlotte, North Carolina area, they do their camps and stuff later. He could easily shoot up the rankings. Spencer Dallin, another offensive tackle, he's got schools coming after him like Tennessee, Ole Miss, Florida State. We've already kind of talked about it. He's another guy that's highly coveted. You just got a really good class top to bottom right now, and you could end up with a fantastic class. So offensive line, bring me the beef. Bring on the beef. It fires me up. I love to see recruiting done the right way. All right, so who's next? We always are looking at who's next. So you got a couple of commitments. You have one being announced today. Alvin Henderson, he was supposed to announce last Friday, postponed it to today. I think his prom is either tomorrow or this weekend. Want to go ahead and get that out of the way. And then you have Hassan Longstreet. Both of those announced this weekend. So you got Alvin tomorrow and then Hassan shortly after. So what happens there? Right now, if I had to pick for Alvin, he's been all over the place, and understandably so. He's very highly coveted. Miami wants him really bad. Florida State wants him really bad. Penn State wants him really bad. Auburn wants him really bad. Everybody wants this kid, and I think whenever he goes to visit, he gets the absolute A+ 5-star treatment, and he should. Small town kid, gotta love that attention, gotta love that type of hype that's built around him. But if I had to pick right now, I think I'd say he's probably going to commit to Penn State. I don't know if that's, again, it depends on when you listen to this. It could already be out, but I think he's probably going to commit to Penn State unless something were to, change last hour. And the thing is, though, I'm not convinced he's going to sign with Penn State. I'm not 100% convinced he'll sign with Penn State. Look, no child from the Wiregrass from Elba, Alabama wants to go play in the snow. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Nobody from Elba, Alabama wants to go play in the cold, play football in the cold. I just don't see it. I don't see it being a long-term thing. But his last visit was to Penn State. Penn State, I believe, does lose 2 of their starting running backs after this season. So I think they have a really good running backs coach, a really popular running backs coach. So I get it. You go, it's warm, it's spring, it feels great. And then you're getting the 5-star treatment, and you see the pathway to playing time. Even though I think he would have not a incredibly different pathway here to getting on the field. I get it. So don't be shocked if that were to happen. I don't think Auburn is without a plan at running back, and I'm sure you're going to see that materialize quickly, very quickly, if he does in fact choose Penn State. And then there's the chance that at the end of the day, he could still end up in the class. If you really want him, I think you could probably get him. You'd just obviously have some hurdles, whether it be NIL, whether it be selling the depth chart, how he fits in, the game plan, things like that. So don't be freaked out when that happens. It's probably going to, but I don't think it's going to be the end of the road with him. That's Alvin Henderson, probably committing to Penn State today. Hassan Longstreet. Oh man, this is coming down to the wire. This has been back and forth. I absolutely love this kid. I'm going to be very not devastated, but I'm going to be very let down if he does not choose Auburn. I'm not saying I'm predicting him to Auburn, but I just really like this kid. I think he's going to be a star. He plays in an against incredible competition and puts up incredible numbers. Doesn't have just like wow you type arm strength, but he just gets it done, and he can move. And Auburn has, if before his official visit, he officially visited a couple of weeks ago. And before that visit, I would have said easily it's Texas A&M. That's his school. He comes on his official visit. He goes back to Texas A&M. I thought for sure it's going to come out. There's going to be a ton of predictions and things like that, but it didn't happen. Maybe he commits or goes ahead and moves up his commit time. It didn't happen. Then he starts taking other visits, and then he comes back to Auburn, spends the weekend, and you just hear so much positivity. And then it's just nothing. You hear nothing but Auburn climbing. I really think it's neck and neck. So I think he commits this weekend, either Saturday or Sunday. It's going to be something to watch. I don't know how to feel. I really don't know how to feel. I really legitimately think it's 50-50. I would not be shocked if it's Auburn, and I won't be shocked if it's Texas A&M. If I had to pick someone right now, I'd probably pick Texas A&M just because of the prior relationship. I guess we kind of got on him late. He's way out in California. It's tough, but I think we kind of got on him late. So I don't know. I don't know how that one goes, but that is someone that's coming up that very well could pick Auburn, and we'd all be ecstatic because you'd have your quarterback. What happens if he does pick Texas A&M? I think you turn the heat up on Juju, or you turn the heat up on KJ Lacey. I think those are probably your next two in line, and I don't think either one of those is necessarily out of the realm of possibility. It does not seem like Juju wants to stick with USC. He may already be decommitted, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be the place for him. And I believe Georgia has already taken a quarterback commit for this class, so he's sort of up for grabs. So that one could end up being an Auburn-Alabama battle for him. So we'll see how that goes. And then obviously there's KJ Lacey. That you could, I feel like if you really pushed, you could probably get him as well. So let's see what happens with Hassan Longstreet. Let's just see what happens with him. I think that we have a chance, but again, it's 50-50. It could go either way. So who's after that? So you got two guys that I think you've been seeing some predictions roll in for. You got Anquan Fagans, and you have Eric Winter. So both of those are technically defensive backs. Anquan's a true safety. Eric is more of a hybrid safety. He actually played a little bit of even quarterback for his team, which is a big Enterprise, which is a bigger school. But those two guys are both starting to get a bunch of Auburn predictions. They're both sort of on the clock, so to speak, like April commit time frame. I think Eric Winters wanted to have his done before the end of the month, and Anquan could go at literally any time. So what would adding both of those do? You add both of those guys, and you're well up into the top 5 of the recruiting classes. Both of those are way highly recruited guys, top 100 type players. And you got Anquan Fagans, who is a Thompson High School kid, and just another kid that you can add from Thompson High School. You can't have enough of those. Continue to build that pipeline because as long as Mark Freeman's there, they're going to continue to churn out a bunch of talent. And then you got Eric Winters, who is teammates with another 5-star, Zion Grady. Has a great another great teammate. His last name's Purcell, defensive back. Enterprise is that Southeast Alabama, just getting a foothold back into that little nook and cranny of the state. And then he's a great player. He's a great player that really fits the star position that DJ Durkin has. And man, it's just I think if you add those two, there will be a lot of excitement. There could be, and then who knows what happens after that. But I think those 4 guys to watch. Alvin Henderson, I think he's probably picking Penn State, so that may not be the next commit. Hassan would be the next realistic one. It's still 50-50 there. We'll just have to see what happens. And then the more realistic targets that could be next would be who goes first, Anquan Fagans or Eric Winters. Again, we'll just have to watch and see. And, there could always be a guy pop up out of nowhere. I don't know what Broderick Scholl's timeline is. He's one that's predicted to Auburn. Could he go ahead and pull the trigger? There's several guys out there. you're starting to get a really more clear picture of how this class could form out and shape up. And you're starting to see that pathway to, a top 5, top 6 class. And that's what you got to have. You can't just be a one and done. You can't just be a one and done with recruiting. You got to continue to stack them. And I think that's what we're going to see. I think that's what we're going to see at the end of the day when this class is all said and done. All right, before we move on to the portal, we got to give a shout out to our friends at plainscoffee.com. I've said it till I was blue in the face. Stop going to getting the big, the big box store, the big cans of coffee that just sit on the shelf forever and ever and ever. You get them and you just got old stale coffee. Go ahead and get you some from plainscoffee.com. Number one, you save gas. Number two, you can use coupon code BUTTON and save 10%. And number three, it's going to come to your door fresh. It's going to come to your door. You can smell it from outside. It's going to be so fresh. So they got a little bit of something for everybody. You can get any kind of roast, any kind of thing that you desire if you're a coffee person. And if you don't like coffee, they got teas too. Check them out. plainscoffee.com. Show them some love. All right, spring is over. Spring football is over. We can talk about the A-Day game. We can talk about spring all we want to till we're just blue in the face, till we're bored. But one of my favorite seasons is about to open up, and it's portal season. Portal season is right around the bend. You're already starting to see chatter of guys, wanting to enter, guys announcing that they will enter when the portal opens. So Auburn's got two sides to this. Okay. You're going to lose some guys. It's inevitable. You're going to lose some guys, and you're going to have to add some guys. Now, I went into this spring thinking that there was some positions that I thought Auburn was going to have to go get multiple guys, not for depth, but literally to have find starting guys. I thought you're going to have to go find some guys on the defensive line. You're probably going to have to go find some wide receivers, and you may even have to find a veteran, another veteran defensive back or something like that that you may have to bring in. Offensive line, you feel like you kind of felt pretty good about that. Quarterbacks, you may lose one. You probably will lose at least one out of that group. You don't think typically there's not going to be a starter level that's going to be, in the portal, but could you go find a young guy that's got promise that could fit, fill that roster spot? I went into the spring thinking, you did have a couple of positions that you were going to have to find some starters. I kind of leave feeling pretty good about the team. I still think you could find another starter quality guy possibly that could line up next to Jason Jones on the defensive line, and maybe that guy will be there. I still think you could probably find another outside wide receiver that could contribute in case, a Perry Thompson or Malcolm Simmons, when they get here, they're not 1,000% ready to go game one. You got somebody that's got some experience. But it's going to happen. It's going to happen across the country. There's going to be probably some pretty fierce NIL bidding wars over some guys. You already saw Bear Alexander from USC, a defensive tackle that, everybody wants, a big-time defensive tackle. And I'm not saying Auburn's going after him, but everybody's going to be going after this kid. So, players like that are going to exist. I just don't know on what level of quality is not the right word, but what level will these guys be as far as starting, I'm going to say it, starting quality players. How many of those type players are going to be out there? I don't see Auburn in a situation where you're going to lose anybody that – I got to be careful the way I say this. I don't think you're going to lose anybody that could cost you a game, so to speak. Does that make sense? I don't think you're going to lose a starter. I don't really think there's going to be a starter that is really at risk of the portal this go around. So, but there could be some fairly decent quality depth guys that you really don't want to lose, or you'd obviously rather have them on the roster than not, because you never know when an ankle could get turned, or something like that, and you need some guy that's sort of like right there in that 2 deep, like he's next guy in line. There could be a few of those, and I don't really want to speculate on who that might be, because that's just not. I don't know. I just don't like to go there until it's official, because I don't want. It's no fun to say a guy could go to the portal. You kind of put your cards out there that you think that guy's either not very good or not at the level to be a contributor. So I don't really want to go there yet. But you could see. I think you could see some level 1B or tier 2 guys possibly go, and then there could be some guys that that just either A, you got discipline issues, or B, you're just not really cutting it, and it's time to go. It's cutthroat both ways. It's cutthroat both ways. But I think we're in a good spot from a team standpoint. I think we're in a good spot from a buy-in standpoint. So I don't really see an issue where you got a bunch of starters, fleeing, trying to go chase a check or something like that. I think we're in a good spot. I really do. So I think I'm not 1,000% sure exactly the date when that opens, but I do know it opens very, very soon, and Auburn is going to be. Let's see, it opens on Tuesday, April 16th, so that's next Tuesday, and then it closes at the end of the month. So it's going to. So that's 14. That's 14 days of fury. So get ready. You'll start to see a ton of names pop up next Tuesday, and I think it'll move fast. And you've kind of put yourself in the position with the hiring of Will Redmond, your off the field staff, and the guys that he brought in with him, the guys that are surrounded by him that have already started maybe not necessarily obviously not reaching out, but like pinpointing guys that they either got tips or whatever that, hey, this guy might enter the portal. He may be somebody we looked at. They've got the film broken down. And I think that'll start moving a whole lot faster from that standpoint. So portal season starts in, I guess today's the 11th. So you got 5 days. So you got the weekend, and then it's going to be hot and heavy again next week, portal season. And then you got some commits that you're trying to bring in from the high school ranks towards the end as well. So a lot of action. And then don't think I haven't thought about the elephant in the room, the big Nike announcement. I think that deserves probably a whole show on the importance of Nike. So we'll see. And that may be some, stuff that we talk about later, because the details are a little murky. Like, when do we get to buy stuff? I talked to a buddy of mine on staff. I told him I got dibs on the Under Armour dump whenever he has to unload some stuff. And he said it could be a while. So, maybe we're not going to see a lot of Nike merch. It could be a possibility we don't see a ton of Nike merch for a while. So I'm hoping that's not the case, because I really want my orange and blue dunks. I guess I could go create my own on the website, but I want the official ones. I want the official dunks. I like a lot of the Nike stuff. I know there was some sort of friction. I was kind of shocked at how divided it seemed the fan base was. But we'll talk about that whole deal. We're going to give a whole show to that soon. Talk about what it means, the impact on Auburn athletics, especially some of your non-revenue sports, and how the equipment in general will hopefully make an impact, because I think there were some hurdles in the past. So y'all have a great weekend. It's so much fun to talk about recruiting when it's going well. And we're right there at it. We're right inside the top 10 already in recruiting. I think we're around number 6 in 247. We're definitely in the top 10 in On3, and that's only going to get better. That's only going to get better. The commits are going to keep coming in. So hopefully we end this month with a bang and jump way up there, and then we're just sort of, getting ready for summer. Summer camp, summer everything that goes along with summer recruiting, Big Cat Weekend, all that stuff. Even though it seems like we've had 3 or 4 of those already, we're going to have another big one. So I really appreciate you guys. Have a great weekend. We will get back next Tuesday and talk about all the stuff that went on over the weekend. So let's see where these guys commit this over the weekend, and we may talk about that as well. So I appreciate it. This is episode 33 of the Top Button podcast. Subscribe to this video, subscribe to this channel. It helps, all the algorithm stuff, and comment. I'll comment back. We'll have a conversation. You want to fight with me? I'll fight right back with you. You want to tell me you like me? I'll tell you I like you. We'll have some fun. So give me in the comments, and we'll get back again next week. This has been another episode of the Top Button Podcast. Stay buttoned.
Thanks for listening, and drive home safely.